from the dawn of China's space program in the mid-1950s to the ability to build, launch, and operate satellites in low Earth and geosynchronous orbits from the 1980s, the People's Republic of China established a complete space power with autonomous access to outer space and deep space exploration. So welcome back to the channel Let's Get Techie. As always, I'm your host Luke, and today I'm here with one of the most talked about and exciting topics that will have you on the edge of your seat. So sit tight and watch the video all the way through so you don't miss anything. China is now constructing its own space lab in low Earth orbit, which could be the only orbiting lab in a good few years. It started as an ambitious trip to Mars in the summer of 2020, which could be a major help in catching up with other powers in the exploration of the Red Planet. It's also making great strides in its moon explorations. Beijing has just achieved its very first landing on another planet in January 2019 by landing a rover on the far side of the moon, and in December 2020, it completed a delicate mission of recovering lunar samples and returning them to Earth. And now it intends to create a lunar outpost by 2030. Closer to Earth, in low Earth orbit, there are many Chinese programs developing space-based internet constellations, but they are still in their early stages. As a result, the People's Republic of China is no longer an outsider in space, but an actual challenger to the greater powers, such as the US. Although it does continue to lag behind in terms of technology and means, both numerically and qualitatively, but it is growing its capability in a fast pace. Now, the three pillars of China's space doctrine are national development, military empowerment, and great power competition. The former two have driven China's space development from the program's inception, while the latter has become increasingly prominent in recent decades. Under President Xi Jinping, space is a big part of the China dream of the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation, which aims to make the People's Republic of China the top technology great power by 2049. Now, let's have a look at China's space ambitions. China's space program began in the late 1950s, but the world's second largest economy has only recently been able to boast substantial triumphs. In recent years, China has developed its own worldwide satellite navigation system known as BeiDou, which competes with the US government-owned Global Positioning System, or GPS. Experts say that it will help China's military system stay in working order in the event of a war, and it gives China an upper hand in military tactics over many countries. Apart from that, Beijing has its sights set on Mars. After landing a spacecraft on Mars in May, China intends to deploy its first crewed mission there in 2033. As it prepares for some of these future trips, China has become far more aggressive in filing for patents relating to space technologies in recent years. Chinese businesses filed 6,634 patents pertaining to space travel, including vehicles and equipment between January 2000 and June 2021. Between January 2016 and June 2021, the top 3 patent requests came from Chinese businesses, followed by Boeing of the United States. It shows how fast China wants to make the technologies needed for an advanced space travel. Such top-level support emphasizes the scope of China's goals. China already possesses the world's largest field aperture radio telescope, measuring a little over 1,640 feet across. Besides Mars, China intends to send probes to the asteroids Jupiter and, potentially, Uranus. It also intends to construct a scientific research station in the Moon's southern pole area, as well as its own advanced large-scale space station within the next 10 years. They have a strategic, long-term set of goals and work methodically and systematically to achieve those goals. Among many other technological aspects, one might ponder, why space? Well, China emphasized space as a frontier technology on which it will focus and conduct studies into the origin and evolution of the universe. According to Saeed Mustashar, head of the London Institute of Space Policy and Law, and fellow researcher Christophe Bichol, it is important for China and the US because it may advance technological development in areas such as national security and some economic development. While analysts doubt that it would ever lead to any conflict in space, extraterrestrial activity could also help military operations on Earth. China and the United States demonstrate their technological expertise to domestic and international audiences through space exploration to the Moon or Mars, enhancing their domestic and international prestige, domestic legitimacy, and international influence. So both are now in a race to lag the other far behind. Next up is how is China's technology transforming it into a superpower? The rate at which China is breaking through each technological barrier demonstrates how Beijing administration sees space as critical to strengthening the economy and encouraging high-end manufacturing and overspill technologies. They regard space as a very vital driver for the future growth and competition. China's commercial space business is less difficult, but potentially more rewarding. A slew of private companies are launching satellites and investigating new revenue-generating applications for space travel. Because launches are only permitted at military facilities in China, these commercial firms must collaborate with and be approved by the government. China, just like the United States and Russia, now has a private corporation capable of creating liquid-fueled engines that are reusable and less expensive than simple solid fuel alternatives. In recent years, the commercial space industry has been transformed by an explosion of firms backed by celebrity entrepreneurs, such as Jeff Bezos, Blue Origin, Richard Branson's Virgin Galactic, and Elon Musk's SpaceX, the latter alone accounting by roughly 65% of the entire $3 billion global satellite launch market in 2018. According to a Satellite Industry Association report cited by Bloomberg, the number of satellites in orbit increased by 50% between 2013 and 2017. Reaching 1,738, with Blue Origin and Virgin Galactic preparing to enter the space tourism market. The State Council of China first suggested the establishment of a commercial space industry in 2014, promising to promote private capital's engagement in China's civilian space infrastructure construction. Since then, military-civilian collaboration has increased, and commercial companies have been permitted to operate from military locations. China, as the ultimate distributor, has every potential to do the commercial space industry what it has already done to manufacturing: lower costs, enhanced efficiency, and surged it into the lead. According to Euroconsult, a space industry consulting group, the launch of small satellites weighing less than 220 pounds will become a $15 billion market by 2027. CEO Jinghui Kai, like the majority of the firm's $500 million employees, came from Chinese state space sector. She believes that the Chinese commercial space industry has no bounds. "I don't know any country in the world that can do things as quickly as China," Kai says. Nonetheless, the capacity of China's commercial space enterprise to compete is limited by tough international traffic in arms regulations, or ITAR laws, which prohibit China from launching satellites containing American components. In response, China is providing clients with comprehensive turnkey solutions that include constructing component-free satellites in the United States, handling launch operations, and providing ground station assistance. Although China's commercial market share remains tiny at around 5 to 10%, analysts say it is expanding with the launch of communications and surveillance satellites for countries such as Brazil, Venezuela, Laos, Nigeria, and Algeria. Furthermore, European satellite makers have begun designing ITAR-free systems for this exact purpose. China's space exploration and commercial initiatives are likely to advance concurrently. iSpace head engineer Yi Wei compares satellite launch to his prior job developing escape pods for the China's state-run human space program. Next, iSpace, like many other private Chinese enterprises, is aiming to dominate space tourism. Despite being far behind US competitors such as SpaceX, Jinghui claims her company plans to launch manned space flights within 5 years. Jinghui intends to take her daughter on the company's inaugural flight once they have done so, at prices that are undoubtedly cheaper than those of the American and European counterparts. In short, China have taken note of many benefits from space technology. China is now a relatively wealthy and technologically advanced power. Following the end of the Cold War, it is the only country that can distribute the world's power equilibrium. It recognizes that the US intends to conduct asymmetric warfare against its adversaries by utilizing technology and capabilities that its adversaries do not have. So, it makes sense to think that If necessary, China will do everything it can to make itself less vulnerable to asystematic operations. So that's it for today's video, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to the channel. Oh, and also share your thoughts about China's future prospect as a space superpower. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell to receive daily updates from us. See you in the next video. Until then, best of luck and have a wonderful day.